Both sides have shown that they can play the T side to a very respectable level. But it's one of the consistent issues we've had with just the UK in general. CT side, even going back to the Elite Series, think about how many times I would just write up 6 CT rounds past 4 games. Just like, they can't play it.
And that's,
hopefully it's not now.
That's why I said it as well. As soon as I saw it, I was like, they might be smashing it, but they need physically as many rounds as they can get because they just struggle so heavily on CT side.
When we were casting Excel.
Oh yeah, that was the pinnacle of awkward CT sides. This is all over the shop though. The aggression coming through. Robin in Speedway, of course, gets the initial headshot as the trade comes back around. Will go down to Solcast. Max going to play a little game of Ring Around the Rosies. A tissue. They start to fall down as Astro will hit the deck. Solcast will trade it, and it is left into the 2 versus 2. Constant trades.
It seems like everybody's found a 1v1 on the map right here, other than Lazo, who's been chasing the whole way up Banana. But you've got to assume he's not in CT, right? He would have been taking the fight with Fry.
Oh, that was a quick dink coming out as well. As they get the tags off, but he's transferring more damage back. Lazo forced into an awkward position here. It's a 1 versus 2. Fry and Eccles. Eccles on 50 HP. Lazo gets the snipe off with the aggression from Fry. He had the Glock, full HP. He knew he could go for the confidence ball, and he wins it.
3K there from Frederick. 2 in towards the site, coming through CT, Pulse and Thomas, and then finally Lazo as well. So continuing that dominance. I think it was, what, 31, 32 kills there in regulation for Fry on that last map. And so far, continuing that incredible performance in terms of fragging ability. But Pistol 1 here for London on the T side.
Oh,
good.
9 HP. 3 grenades obviously contributing to that. But Endpoint, if we remember on Overpass earlier on today, the nades, or actually Mirage was, the grenades were doing so much damage, whether it was a double grenade or just a single one. And getting some of the favor paid back right there, 4 damage.
Because that was the thing, before they had even actually had like contact initially with a player through line of sight, they had done probably about like 60, 70 damage minimum each round just through nades. And that's pretty damn good if you think about like the split across players. The position that puts them in, especially at that point, you walk into an M4, that's a 1-bullet headshot. That's the difference it makes.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the average actual team ADR with utility is about 20. So if you think you're probably contributing about, obviously they won't be getting 50 or so every round, but it does feel like it. Yeah. And it does, even if you're against it, it feels like it even more. You feel like everywhere you walk, you're walking into a grenade. And from that, you might walk into somebody's crosshair and you're instantly dead, no fight by potential. But
then it becomes the mind games as well, right? When do you throw the grenades? You can do it at the start of the round, you slow down their defaults, so they stop going for the Molotov, and then push up, and then Molotov the corner, Molotov out sandbags, then do the typical smokes, etc.
Oh, Robin.
Oh,
they were all there.
Tag as well. Oh. Dink down to Solcast. 9 HP. He's good at surviving at low HP, isn't he?
2 players on 9 HP. Thomas has the CZ. He picks one of them off, but he gets another, though. So it's still a 3v3 here. There is armor.
Makes it a lot better as well. Finding that second frag with the CZ just on the way out puts them into a good position. 3v3, you can retake that site. They're just going to go for it, though. Max waltzes into his own demise. Pulse with the trade. The 5-7, the rapid clicks coming through as he's in the 1v1. Eccles uses the elevated angle, ascends to the victory there as he will get that kill.
Eccles there going for the elevated angle, to say the least. Jumps up twice. And Pulse did not expect that one. 2-0.
I've just realised Ian's got his socks out.
Has he really?
Shoes off on stage.
Shoes
off.
Shoes
He's ready.
off.
Maybe this is how they're getting the victory. I spotted his...
his feet.
It's getting
a tactic.
Boy. It's like smelling salts. It's woken up everyone in London.
It makes them want to, you know, win this game.
Just to get off stage.
Well, if that's the case, they should probably lose.
Yeah. Speaking of losing, if London go towards B, there would be a lost round for Endpoint if they stacked 5 players here towards top of middle. Astro to the max 10. This is the dream.
Flash comes through. A lot of damage dealt. And it should be no casualties whatsoever, but that's the full value of SMG, you know, gained there. $3,000 in kill returns.
So, 3-0. Now we're going to be going into the first full buy round. This is where things do get interesting. Org for Thomas. He's the only player we've seen so far use it. I wish we saw it from more people on the server just because of how strong it has been, especially CT sides as well on a map like Inferno, where if you're playing Pit, if you're playing Arch, there's long-range duels. Even on the B side as well, if you're playing far back at the back boxes, etc., it can be very, very powerful.
Eccles charging straight to the top of Banana. He takes that fight. I think it's fair to say he has lost that ultimate firefight, but that grenade doesn't finish him off, though. 3 HP.
He really is lucky at surviving with these nades. I mean, what? We saw him knocked down from 2 to 1 at one point. This point left on 3 HP. Every time, it's so bare minimum. But he just keeps himself alive, green around the gills, limping around the site.
So London, they kept 3 SMGs obviously into this one due to everyone living in the previous round. Why would you bother investing further? Every CT has head armor here. So it does mean that those SMGs won't be able to get that freedom of just being able to run around, jumping around even, and get the instant headshot and not have to pay that price of having to hit him twice. The question is, how will this hold, actually hold, right?
Oh, he's undeployed the flashbang.
Oh, he's running around.
He's running as well. Ooh, nice shot there from Pulse. Takes the first. Flashbang to come through, though, as his players in pool. The Molotov, not going to work. Artist as well finishes the job here. And just like that, the B-bomb site is in the domain of London. 4-0 as your Endpoint here, you should really save.
I can't help but question Max's movement there on the bomb site, just because you were ready with that flash lined up. You pulled it as well, so if they were, if they had heard it, they, easy pickings right there. But the fact that he ran across to smoke the entrance, I don't really understand why that was needed at all. Like, surely that's one of the rules of being on that side of the bomb site. From new boxes, roughly to first oranges, you do not run across that area. Just because if somebody's topping out, they will hear you.
It's also the fact that Pulse didn't see anything, and I think they were trying to go for the Molotov take at the top. Obviously, in that scenario, Max would Molotov the top towards the car, smoke towards the wall, and then Pulse would flash for him, but obviously poor timing there, and unfortunately, that's resulted in the first buy run going in favour of London.
Will Astro rebuy his armour? I think is a good question here.
He's under 50, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, 27, yeah.
Yeah, he's actually nearing the point where it is an instant headshot no matter what still. He doesn't.
Doesn't realise.
Let's see if he gets hit by this, because it's a little pet peeve of mine when people don't rebuy their armour.
That face he's making in the picture is the reaction he's going to have when he gets one bullet headshot.
So it would be interesting to know exactly what kind of distances relative to in-game where it does make the difference. Because it has to at some point, because it will just, it's a percentage value, right? Because obviously the nades are another thing that do get affected by that. Nades do more damage when you have no head armor for some reason. It's a bit of a weird one.
Oh! Man, again! Absolute filth! He loves going for more. He just cannot re-peek after he gets a nice shot. Fair play to him. He's just opened up this A bomb site, and that might be the round as good as done.
That is beautiful. And that lineup of smoke right there is beautiful too.
He's playing gun game.
Yeah, wager matches. What's he going to be waging?
Double down on that one, Snon. It's absolutely ridiculous. 2 kills to his name, one with the Kalashnikov to open it, switches out to the AWP, finds the follow-up, goes back to the AK to try and round this one out, but it'll be his teammates exploring, going full John Rambo over towards the B site, as they will look to try and find the last 2 players from Endpoint, and it's still just tasty kills coming through. Cooking up some mean frags, Silver Fry will be dispatched. Eccles will trade it though, and London get themselves a 5th round.
Not looking good for Endpoint so far, starting on the CT side.
Yeah.
Prize off the P90.
P90?
Oh, the shot was
so smooth.
There's no chance, is there?
Right now in TeamSpeak, God, that shot was sick. He's going
to
lose that one back.
Les on the other side is saying, I've been interped.
Yeah.
It goes both ways.
It looks like Fry didn't want that
And
P90
it was an Inferno as well.
Yeah, it was. Astro. His armor's going down and down and down. He's on 19 now.
At some point, he needs to rebuy that.
Question is, will he?
Probably not. He'll probably just die and not realise.
I guess as long as you are buying armor at some point, not just that was someone else. Not buying armor full stop.
But just investing into an AK.
Ooh, nearly.
Yeah, very unusual. This should be 6-0 unless we see something crazy from Pulse, most likely. I feel like it has to be on that B-bomb site because that is where they're going now. He's already behind the CT smoke as well. Shouldn't really be able to find anything whatsoever.
Eccles, easy as that. It's going to be the, let's say B-side for 3, but that was one through the smoke. At long range as well, there from Max. But even then, 6-0 should be the scoreline.
Eccles is brought down fairly low. Finished off there in the end as well from Max. Goes for the spam around. He has picked up the AK and can just get away with it if they give him a little bit of a grace period, potentially. I mean, that smoke's going to fade, so he needs to be pretty quick about it. But he will get away. So they're going to be able to clutch onto the AK. Tons of nades there on Max as well, so it is worth the full commit on the save. Support of Robin. Also has the MP9 and the Deagle.
A very interesting little crossfire being used for this save, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you're very exposed, so they go for the push straight out down CT, but luckily no one has gone round there.
Astro's armor. So he's actually run quite far away there. Imagine if he just tried saving Banana. He might have actually just died.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't have been enough. Will he notice?
No, I don't think he cares at this point, Ben. Sorry.
It's just you see the value there, though. Like when you're checking everything, but you're just buying regular stuff.
You're going to see that 19, yeah.
That's so like that's.
Well, this is a big round here for both these teams. No pause though from Endpoint. This is where
6 rounds is usually where you do hit the pause as well, because you're like thinking that's at least what 3 buy rounds now.
Easily, yeah.
So, you know, they're taking this one out.
Oh, Frederick and jumping headshots.
I'm not too sure why he's jumping there, Pulse. Frederick he keeps going, apparently, on his own. No chance for a trade, obviously. It means that they went out even up 4v4. And they know that there's only 2 players on this site, which is why we see them going there. But unfortunately for Dom, can't get anything going.
Tries just to get the entry in towards the A site, do what Artis did to him, or to Endpoint. Either way, though, 2 for 2, split defense here from Endpoint. I believe they have gone for the boost in towards CT4 Max. Robin doing that one. I think so, yeah. And apart from that, towards the A side where the antics are going to be going down, Thomas on the balcony.
Buzzer finds that first pick. Thomas is the easy follow-up kill. It's all on Astro. He's going to be very exposed if he goes for this play. The likelihood of winning it now is dwindling more and more as time ticks away as well. And that nade gets stuck on his feet. Nearly blows off his kneecaps, leaves him on 62 HP, glides his way out nicely with the movement there, but unfortunately there was a Thomas in the rear.
Yeah, big 3K from Thomas. Obviously that position, playing the pit player, you do need to be able to come up with those multi-kills when needed, and obviously 3 into that round gives Endpoint their first on the board. London Esports, however, do have a lot of money available to them. Astro did have 14,000 at the start of this round.
Finally a round on the board, though. B take towards Banana here, the double Molotov. Frederick going to be smoking that one out. Leaves a little gap there as well for him to utilize potentially. They've now seen 3 HE grenades, which should mean they know there's 2A currently.
Oh, he's being team attacked. I feel like he was getting tagged then in the back by Eccles. Obviously not for more than 40, but you know, if you're trying to pull out, you're being damaged, slowed down. But again, they're trying to force the same issue, but Thomas is still here to, you know, delay them at the very least.
Ooh, look where Astro is actually. If Robin goes for the peak, he will go down, which he will. Good awareness there from him. Thomas stuck in an awkward position there, and the site's over. That's a $1,400 reset here if Endpoint save, and this could get out of control here.
Max does have 7,850 there.
Oh, he is quite... Oh.
I don't know how he's got that money.
How has he got that much money if it's 7-1?
I'm not too sure, but it does mean he can save and drop 3 if needed. I really don't know. I'm trying to think like to the previous round if he had like an SMG and got loads of kills with that. He's had the AK for a while though, hasn't he? Because he saved it. So has he just not been dropping for anyone or buying?
That is very strange.
Peculiar, but 7-1 now.
They'll take it.
Yeah.
7-1 as you said, and weapons can be dropped over by Max, so they are going to be having a full buy here anyway. London 1 away from claiming the 8th round and therefore winning the half, so all in their favour, Jack. Do you agree?
It is. It's looking good. London, they're in a pretty good position to actually keep this one going and lock it down, really. However, it's just how long are we going to see that consistency for, right? Is this something they can maintain the entire time? It's only really a matter of time until Endpoint can reinvest, and now is going to be that time. Max, luckily being able to save all that cash, puts them into a good position. The rebuy comes through. We've got the scavenged AKs there as well. The AUG and also the AWP coming out. So the double scope action. Lazar, will he get too much with this to try and kick it off? And also, are we still going to see that unnecessary aggression coming out towards Banana that was giving London the early entries?
So there is a lineup for the HE grenades. Thomas... That was so aggressive. Like, you chased him through the window, basically. There's a lineup to actually get the cubby with the HE grenades that Endpoint do use very often. If they'd landed both of them, Eccles would be very low, if not dead, because only one of them actually landed.
It's 50, 60 HP, yeah.
Yeah, so it would have been a lot of damage. Like, one of them went straight into the tree instead of actually off the wall that was needed. But they've got the man advantage anyway. It doesn't really matter too much. You've got 2 players, though, who can be one-shot by an M4.
Yeah, and after Thomas gets the kill, he's now going to be rotating towards B. It seems that the bomb's going to be making its way, the majority of players from London towards the A site. Laz is there with the AWP.
Early pick there. Astro, he's lost an elbow. Clean off. He waits for the pick to come back through, goes for the shot out, realizing the bomb is gone, trying to get the connections out. Nothing else has been found, but they're into a good position. You've got 40 seconds on the clock. The 3 Musketeers of London are trapped in the brackets area. Ooh.
Robin was very ready for that boost onto the actual flowers there. And it does mean they've run into a bit of a wall. Luzza's behind that smoke. The spray from Robin distracted him enough to keep Luzza alive, but he's still here. But ultimately, they only lose Robin. So a very clean round, really, considering. And London, their money, it's a bit weird, isn't it? 2,000 on Fry, Astro 14,000. Not really keeping it, you know, moderated, I guess. But speaking of, Astro's now decided to buy an AWP due to Luzza having one himself.
Yeah, a map like this as well will be difficult to have that solid impact. Let's see that Luzza's pushing down middle.
Second.
Yeah, just didn't see anything though. We'll fall back eventually. No one going towards Banana at the start of the round. We've mentioned the game of cat and mouse with the utility at the start of the round. And because of that, Banana control will be contested.
Yeah, Fry here this time. Previous rounds it has been Eccles here and there. But you can still see it is them two as a pairing actually working towards Banana. But Endpoint, after they've used pretty much every single grenade other than the one smoke, have decided to give it up. But Pulse is setting up. He's actually thrown the smoke from back near Coil there. So by 45 seconds, there's no grenades left on that site, which I think is why Luz is rotating across. So the switch comes through from Pulse and him. So that probably means London will probably rotate across this bomb site thinking they've got no grenades left. But they still got one more smoke. But can Luzza get it down before the push comes in?
Don't think so. Going to be smoked off towards CT. Max goes down. 5 versus 4.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why he felt the need that he had to go for the pick. He could have just smoked it and left Pulse still there. Like, you can keep the 2 rifles, so there's nothing wrong with that.
And if he smokes as well, it probably stops or delays massively. Makes it very awkward for London to go.
They might think there is a third player here. Like, whether it's that or, you know, thinking there is a smoke here, it will do something to stop them. But that means we go to 8-2. The round's going back and forth here. The CTs, they save 4 weapons, though, is the main thing here. They can still buy next. Pulse can drop max. He'll be able to get grenades back himself as well.
I mean, the thing is for me as well, right? Technically, in terms of just like a benchmark of what we've seen from both these two sides on Inferno recently, I'd say Endpoint's Inferno hasn't been looking that mind-boggling, right? It looks like it's got worse, if anything, from what I've seen in past times. It's not been the strongest map for him. Even during the online season, it didn't look great. London seems like it's actually been pretty good. We saw, especially with the Omen stuff, a lot of the best plays they had were on maps similar to or Inferno because they were just able to really lock it down. Their CT side actually looked good as well. And that's the worry for Endpoint is because, again, we see the classic struggle. Their CT side never looks that fantastic. It seems like it's always either a really slow start with a little bit of a pickup towards the end of the half or the whole way through, just never really getting into it. Always a slow burner.
If we've got a really old throwback for Endpoint CT side on this map, it'd be that London Lynx game.
Yep.
Or games, I believe it was. Obviously, they lost, what, 16-2 to London Lynx? Which is a side you should not be losing to like that.
One of the only wins London Lynx had that entire season as well, which was against Endpoint on
That's one of their, what, top, it's their top half of their map pool, isn't it? Inferno, I'd say. Like third, fourth, roughly, isn't it?
It's one of the more consistent maps, yeah.
But it's always in the pool, right? Whenever they play versus the UK teams, Mirage, Inferno, and then Overpass, it's pretty much each and every time.
Thomas needs to come up big here, though. I believe there's, what, 3 players in the apartments there?
Cool. Gets the first off. The push is slowly coming in. They're very staggered. Good use of the utility there to delay the push, leaving them into quite an awkward situation. Thomas finds 2. Gets traded back. You're left into the 3 versus 3. A hat-trick of players on either side. And 45 seconds left on the clock. Eccles makes this move up. Tries to get the execution, but will only eliminate 1 man. As it's getting closer and closer. Luzza monitored off. Can't really go for the push out just yet. He has the only utility that is left there. The flashbang and the HE. And it is actually the AWP on either side as well. Astro, the elevated angle, trying to go for the peak. They are holding it, but it's a little bit awkward with the push. I mean, you're covered, you're not really protected. You can't do much there. And Robin just walks straight in, takes both of the firefights, and wins it on his own.
And he picks up the second AWP, which is something we haven't seen very often from him. Obviously, it'll be Pulse picking it up on the other side.
Body disrespect there.
It's a classic from Robin.
That is vintage Robin.
Usually he's typing, actually.
Yeah,
normally I think he probably is doing both.
Yeah, he's probably giving it as well.
Yeah. But he does like getting in his opponent's mind, I think it's fair to say. Having played against him many times. He does like doing that sort of thing. But the second AWP, I mentioned it probably would go on Pulse. But usually, it's kind of weird. They do this quite often. When they pick up that second AWP, usually they send 3 banana, which I wouldn't say is a normal thing to do with that AWPer. Because you're forced into a peak like this, which is...
I think the idea is to get banana control, leave Pulse alone, and then rotate the other 2 players over towards A.
However, the issue is, from what I've seen in the past, it usually doesn't turn out too great when they leave Pulse there. It's kind of a weird one, because obviously you normally play like Device, for example. Obviously he gets that kill there. But on the other side of the map, somehow, Max was still with him, for whatever reason.
No trade there, as you said, for Dom. Other way, though, Max coming in towards the A site. Robin going to be smoking off quad, playing close. Minute left on the clock as they leave Pulse alone towards the B site. So he may be tested later on. What depends on where this bomb does go.
So Robin, he's got those sound cues. You can hear them perfectly fine right there through it. And he actually stays under the quad, but Ardis' position is very key here. So after Pulse got that first kill, he fell back from banana, gave away control, which means we now have Max back with him. And Robin gets that kill, but instead of using Ardis' position to their advantage, they don't use him at all. It now is a 4v2 in Endpoint's favour. And Ardis hasn't been able to do anything from this position.
That is weird. It seems like Ardis was the one that was really set up as a linchpin there to possibly open up the round. Instead, they just go in 1 by 1. There's no real communication to it. It feels like the issue for London that has been the biggest real caveat of them losing rounds is communication. It
does feel like it. From the outside perspective, obviously, we're not...
we're not on comms, we don't know.
We're not hearing everything they're saying.
From what we're looking at, that's the only way that explains it.
It's very unusual, though, because they are... they're very good friends. They must speak to each other very often, but apparently when it goes in-game, it changes. Or at least it looks like it does. First time not used by London.
I was about to say, and they're winning, so Imi wants to try and keep the ball rolling.
I think he's recognised the hole in the system, because obviously there's the double AWP, so they have to change things, whether it's that banana or just across the map.
Yeah, the question is, are they going to go for the simple banana control, execute towards B against the AWP? Because obviously, AWPs are great for the split and pick style, right? If London play a slow contact style and they get picked apart by the AWPs, if they play fast with the utility properly, and in the executions they get the bomb planted and the retakes, that's where the double AWPs suffer.
So this round, they've actually gone with just the 2 at banana. Regular double molly was used, a single HE. However, they've not gone for any further commit than that. And London, I wouldn't be surprised if they did go contact, perhaps fully into the site here. They don't really have too many grenades. They do have enough smokes to go for an execute if they want to. But they only have the 1 Molotov, which means you can only push one of the places out, one of the players out if they are new box, for example.
I think the BXX is probably the best call, and that's why the flashbang forcing the AWP off the angle, and Pulse misses it.
Ooh, Pulse needs to get one of these shots off to keep them into this round. Really, Max is smoked off. Pulse forced to pull back, but Max gets the second shot off and actually puts them into quite a good position. The rotate's coming back around. They do outnumber them with the extra man in their favor, and everyone is on this site. Robin sets himself up to use the utility. The Molotov's going to be casted over. Thomas is doing all of the groundwork with that AUG alone. And Luzza will find the final killing blow there as Fry goes down to the 5-7. They're bringing it back, boys. They've got it now into an 8-5. Considering the position they were in, is getting there.
Yeah, I really like the use of that Robin Molotov, even though we didn't really get to see it be used, per se. But it's nice to see, those sort of lineups being known, really, because people normally, they just know, I can throw this against, like, the skybox there, but I don't really know if it'll land. I'll throw it, though. But it's nice to see the actual lineup.
Well, it's also good to see it as well, because it's just, I mean, that many players in one position, there's too much commotion. He's not really going to be able to do too much.
Or the saves him.
Favorite gun.
Eight.
Wow. Obviously, there's not much investment into this round anyway, but Fry doesn't care. Takes down Thomas, the hunter himself.
This is good. This is shaping up a whole lot better for Endpoint, considering the position they were in at first. They're now actually making this a lot more competitive, and the scary factor is, once they get to that T side, things could be even better.
That's the factor, right? Obviously, the UK has notoriously been poor at CT sides, and maybe we can try and discuss why that is. Is it because of lack of communication? Is it because the teams fought before you can build that synergy, that map depth when it comes to your setups, your chemistry, your cohesion, when you play your sites together? Is it because we lack strong individual support players, like your Pulses, like your, well, if we're going to go on the side of London, we like to say Fry can be left alone and be a very strong anchor. But there just isn't many of them left.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help but feel it's obviously a combination of a bit of everything, isn't it? Like, we don't have people who play together long enough. But there's also natural chemistry where you know what the other person's going to do just because you played with them so much.
Exactly.
Right? You don't even need to speak it, because you know if this happens, they're going to do this. Like, that's their natural, rotational play that they would make in that situation.
Minute left on the clock here, final round. All 5 players gathered up. Oh, all 4 players, apologies, gathered up towards the B site. Artist looking, catches Robin off guard. Oh, and the entries in towards B as well.
There's no smoke at CT though, that's a free kill. And he keeps going, but he pulls back.
If the confidence was there and Max went for the push, it actually might have worked out better for him. Instead, does fall. And it all comes down to Thomas. You've got 30 seconds on the clock. It's the final round of the half. You have to go for it. But it is going to be a very tall order. 1 versus 3. There's double nade in play as well, but Artist is taken down in a matter of seconds, and Thomas keeps on running. Vintage Thomas, hold down W, get yourself in towards that site, and cause some damage as he will be pushing himself up now. Time's ticking its way through. He has a kit. He has no other utility to help him, and he now no longer has a head.
Fry carrying on though from that first map play. He's got 14 kills now to end that half. Ultimately, you got to be thinking that round is obviously a big momentum keeper, really, isn't it? Because
for London, yes.
Endpoint, they were getting into the game, looking into that T side, you'd be thinking it was potentially going to be an 8-7, and that means from the pistol you could suddenly be losing. But 9-6, you can lose the pistol, lose second, and then go from there if needed.
So, big pistol here for London. They want to try to force us onto Mirage, the 3rd and final map. Good stack as well. 3 players there, ready for what's coming from Endpoint.
It's the same thing that we saw in the CX game. And there's not... well, there is 3 players here against. This was against London too.
Oh. Well, Fry gets one. Les has been able to take down Artist as well. But Soulcast gets involved, and this is when all of it goes wrong. Oh, Mighty Max trying to get control of the situation, but it will not matter. Eccles finishes them off. They get the opening pistol round. London in a tremendous position now. If they can actually win the following rounds and keep this going for a little bit longer, they can really set themselves up for success here. The investment coming back through as well. 2 Famises, 2 MP9s, and an M4.
So that was literally the same pistol that CEX ran against London today. And London played 3 players on the site again, not in the same positions exactly, and they still come out on top.
Yeah, with the Molotov as well, into towards one of the players. There's only 2 players on that site, and they find 4 kills.
It's kind of bizarre, really, because you know, if you've seen them literally do that CT setup, are they thinking they won't do it again, or not too sure? But ultimately, London do get that pistol.
But the Molotov was there to try and counter it potentially.
Yeah, potentially on towards Dark, which is where originally they have the 2 players stacked. Will Arlis get a flash here, or is he just going to dry peek it? Let's go dry peek. I feel like he's lucky to get the 1 there. Potentially more, obviously, if he's staying alive long enough, thanks to Astro, really.
It's good as well to get Astro a few kills here because, to be honest, he has been struggling in this best of 3 so far. First map, I don't even know if he got double digits. And here he is now. I mean, before that, he was on 3 kills.
Funnily enough, on that first map, so obviously, I mentioned it when he was 2 to 15. He got a big 3K, right?
Yep.
I believe he ended on 21.
Oh, my goodness.
It was an unnoticed kind of rise from him because we kept on seeing Fry get those crazy flashy kills. But Astro was, you know, it's like the, what's the old copy pasta that people use regarding flick shots with an AWPer?
Misses the ones.
Yeah. You see, you never remember Olaf kills. Yeah, kills, but
you remember, like, you know, Olaf's 30 or something weird like that, isn't it? Along those lines.
It's a good meme. I think it was Devices 30 or something like that.
Yeah, it's an old one, but it checks out.
It's an older model. It still checks out.
So London kept the MP9s actually in play on Ardis and Astro. A lot of damage dealt despite, you know, I don't think there's been any clear firefights other than the spam through the smoke, really, and the utility use. But look at Endpoint's utility. They've used so much. And think about what map control they actually have gotten. They don't have brackets. They've only just gotten top banana if they do push for it. But they spent so much.
50 seconds here. 5 versus 5. Bomb from Endpoint. situated in towards middle. 4 smokes, no flashbangs, and no other utility as well, so they can go for an execution if they wanted to. Ooh, the timing of the Molotov. Dom with 1.
Got everything in Artist needs to get 2 here to keep it ready. But how's he got that?
That's a wild flick there from Artis.
With an MP9, I felt like he only had like 6 bullets.
Yeah. I don't know how he's achieved it, but he has. And now we get back into this situation. 3 versus 2. It's going to be Robin and Thomas that are on the site, hunkered down, waiting for the push to come around. 2 players coming in from quad now.
Oh, they lined up a bit.
That's a huge dink. Astro brought down to just 32. Robin's confident for it as well, going for the peaks. Thomas has been able to dispatch the man in front of him. And they've got 2 players focusing towards quad, but it will not matter. Thomas perishes, but Robin will get the adjustment. The 2K pickup, and Endpoint get a 7th round.
You could tell Eccles even knew that Robin was going to be there, but not much you can do. You run into an AK's, you know, what, crosshair, I suppose. It's a decent headshot. Yeah, there's nothing you can do. Yeah. Match pause, though. I can't help but feel like it wouldn't be on London's side, though, right? It was only the first gun round. Dom probably should have got more than 1 in the situation he put himself in.
Oh, it is going to be,
okay, that's quite surprising.
But then again, we are in the second half here, Ben, and they still have 3 pauses remaining. They just lost Clutch versus Robin. May as well take this one. They have the 4-round advantage, and they know firsthand about a comeback.
Oh, actually, it might be to talk about the buy, because they have actually committed into it. So you've got an open Astro, MP9 on Eccles, and then M4s across the board, but not many grenades. You've got the full 5 smokes, which is great, but to back that up, you've got the 2 Molotovs, what, 3 flashbangs, 2 HEs. It's not fantastic.
Not fantastic indeed. So if they lose this one as well, 8-11. Eco following that, 9-11 potentially. So, ooh. It's the one for the top banana, right? Yeah, hits the skybox, comes down, and does not miss.
Well, that's unfortunate. I think it landed behind the wood. Yeah. On like I was going to say the car, but it's not a car anymore, is it? But I think it landed behind that, and obviously CSGO grenades do not work through, you know, a millimetre of objects. So, unfortunate for Eccles, though. But I remember when we casted Endpoint, when they first brought in Robin, it was Shiki as well. That it was that iteration of, you know, lineup. And on B side, it was with Max and Pulse, and they were doing a bit too much of that sort of lining up and stuff. I remember them getting walked in on whilst they were lining up grenades on top of oranges. Yeah,
there was way too many situations where you could clearly see they had done their homework on nades that they wanted to use. It was like, oh, this is a sick nade, we can use this. Both of us can double nade from here and here. We can use this from the skybox and try and be that UK Astralis. Unfortunately, they just didn't know when to utilize it, and it did bite them a lot of the time.
That's what I mean, though. You can get all these strategies from demos, but it's when you use it that's the difference maker. Soulcast here in pit, not going to be checked out, but eventually Pulse will get the trade frag. 4 versus 4 as Fry manages to get his way back into the smoke. But still on the server, still on the site is Artis. Eccles, what? Gets 2. And Fry's there to finish the job, 12-7. How on earth has he got away with 2 kills there? That is, again, some of these kills from London have been unforgivable.
And it's destroyed Endpoint's economy, though, as well. Like, they got, what, Pulse got the kill of the Mac 10, and then he didn't even get the kill of the M4 just then either, did he? So it was actually just rifles picking him up, which means we see the force by coming in. It's 12-7 here. If they lose this, we're going to 14, really. Endpoint in a tough spot. You were thinking they might be able to build some rounds from that Robin clutch, but they can't quite get it done. That's a strategy they ran quite a few times in the past few months as well. Instead denied by the players playing amidst those smokes that they put down themselves. Oh. Straight into the actual spawn. There's a lot of players playing towards this archway, isn't there? 3 players playing close to each other there. Unusual.
Worked out rather well, though.
I think Tim as well.
Ooh. Not quite the kill, though. Dom on the last one there. 13-7. And this should be closing up fairly shortly here, Ben. I think we are going to get this last map of Mirage, especially with only 3 away and maybe only 2 away when you take a look at the lack of economy for Endpoint. No AWP as well going to be coming out from Labs in the next round, so back to a normal, rudimental buy.
can't help but feel like if we do go to Mirage, it'll be very scrappy based off what we've seen in these last two maps. It hasn't been very, clear cut as it is from both teams. Like a lot of kills here and there that would not happen if they had been playing, the last 2 weeks straight regularly practice. And a lot of consistent games, officials and that. Should be easy for Eccles to clean the situation up there. Bit of aiming practice, really. A lot of people jumping up and down. 14-7. As you mentioned, no AWP will be involved for Endpoint. It's going to be the rifle from Leslie. He's had a pretty slow series so far. Again, at the bottom of the scoreboard for Endpoint. We would normally pin him as one of the players to watch as well. Uncharacteristic from him.
So, 14-7. As expected, easy round versus the Eco. Not even a full buy here as Max has gone for utility instead of the AK investment. But out of control, not going to be contested early on. Instead, Endpoint will have control then once the Molotovs do fade. 3 players here, though. That might be a flashbang to head over once the smoke does fade.
Flash comes through. Everybody blind on Banana, but that smoke at the bottom has actually faded, just as they did the rush, which could have made things go very, very wrong, but instead it's going very wrong for Luzza, apparently, losing that spam battle a lot.
4 HP for him.
So nice to see that sort of play coming through, though. Fully, you got control top Banana. I'll flash you guys push down, or at least peek it and take the kills.
Yeah, and it's very obvious as well, seeing it on the radar, what was about to come. London playing so passive in terms of utility. They kept the Molotovs top at the wall just to keep them situated there on Banana, and then obviously they weren't expecting the flashbang.
So now it's down to the 3 players left. They need to find some picks, if possible. Thomas did get contact towards the arch side there, but it looks like the A site is the goal. But with Astro posted up, they do have 4 players towards this side of the map. It's near impossible to get onto that bomb site with these 3 players in this sort of triangle setup. If they get in, somebody will have messed up.
Slowly and steadily, they make their push around, encroaching upon that CT side control. Fry will get first contact, gets the spray down on 2 of them. And Luzza will fall to Soulcast there. The 15th round has now been picked up. London Esports are 1 away from securing themselves this second map and pushing us to the decider, which really does not bode well for Endpoint. This is putting them to a bit of a shaky position. If this is where the game is going to carry on, this could actually be a London upset. Yeah, especially if we're going off of how both teams have looked on their map pick. Safe to say. Ooh, Artis really applying the pressure, but gets a bit heated there in the kitchen. He needs to apply a cold compress.
Astro. Ooh, he's had a really
iffy game.
Yeah, I mean, for him, typically he's that self-assertive, confident player, especially in the server as well, not just as a person, but he's a pivotal part of that former Wind and Rain roster, and now London Esports. Nice shot there from him, though. On to 6 kills.
He needs backup quick. Oh! Too little, too late from Eccles. Arriving on the scene a bit too late. Obviously, this now means 8th round for Endpoint. Fry needs to save. They do have a lot of money on 3 of the players, so it does mean we'll see another buy from them. The question is, can Endpoint, have the mental fortitude to get back into this game? Because it's a big hill to climb. Obviously, London did that and more, if I'm honest, in the previous map. But they're already playing just for overtime at this rate.
It's a matter of how many rounds can you win on the trot without making any mistakes, because the amount of times it's just looked a bit sloppy, really, from Endpoint on the site takes of what they've been bringing to the table here. It's not that repeatable.
Yeah, it's not even like it's just Endpoint making mistakes, though. It's been, it's been a recurring trend for most of the maps we've seen today. There's been a few mistakes which you can't help but feel like that wouldn't happen normally, that wouldn't happen normally. Quite a few of them here and there. Nevertheless, 15-8. Endpoint, they do have a AWP now on Luzza, which on the T side, on Inferno, it's a bit difficult to get those picks. Obviously, you can just be closed out. However, it looks like he did have a spawn towards Banana.
Oh, he got hit by
blocked, didn't he? He's in between the Molotovs, though. They missed them. Oh, it was only 1.
Yeah, strange. So, early frag there onto Eccles. Molotov going to be coming in to... Oh, that's a bad Molotov. I don't think it's going to go deep enough.
Yeah. Lovely shot by Fry. And a lovely grenade too. He doesn't even have support. Nobody's even rotating.
They're not even going to go peek him. I don't blame them.
Pulse did hear the player at the end of apartments there. So they're playing so defensive on this A side. Other than Astro, who's been playing more towards mid fairly openly. He's going to be charging up quad into the same sort of setup. But that's a perfect line for Artis, but he only gets the one.
Oh. Astro, he'll get the finishing blow, finds himself the second as well, as Luzza will also go down, and that is the victory there secured. And that was actually quite a fast-paced game of Inferno as well. They really got through that one relatively quickly. Yeah,
I mean, obviously it was pretty much a role reversal from Overpass before we saw the, well, stark lead in favor of Endpoint on the T side of Overpass. No, Inferno. Instead, it was London leading the charge on their map pick, and they didn't make the same mistake of Endpoint, where on their CT side, they let it slip, they let it crumble. They didn't get to that close exchange. It wasn't a 16-13 to 16-12. Instead, it was a decisive win in favor of London. If we're going off both map picks here as well, Jack, you've got to say, Soulcast and the London boys, they looked so far better on their map pick, and the question is, Mirage.
Yeah, they look favoured. Like, going into it, if you take about the most recent results of what we've just seen there from this series, they're looking like the better team, and that's quite scary, because for Endpoint, they need to wake up, they need to adapt and really switch back soon, or they're going to get overthrown, because if you give these players confidence, that's what they need to strive, right? It really does come down to that. That entire team can do so much work if they're feeling themselves and realizing their true potential. Think about Eccles, think about Ardis. You put them to a position where they're really just going to be head soaring, feeling confident, walking in with an AK, they could be ripping off heads.
It's very worrying indeed, and if you think about the first series of the day, it was very similar to this. You know, London, they took the second map by storm, and then the third map, they did have to make a huge comeback, but ultimately you couldn't help but feel like they were probably going to win it no matter what.
It's very, very true. I mean, here as well, 1-7 advantage for London, 8-2 as well. This was the clutch from Robin. But yeah, Jack, I've got to agree, so far, Endpoint have to go and have a good discussion about how they can fix things coming into this last map.
Yeah.